All right, so we got this question here where we have these two functions intersecting at 1, 4, and 5, and we're told the area of these regions A, B, C, D, E, F. So we just start with part A. Part A says the integral from 0 to 1 of g of x. So g of x is our blue function. So if I'm going from 0 to 1, the area under the blue function, that's going to be A. So our answer from 0 to 1 of g of x is A. If we go from 0 to 1 of f of x, that's going to be this region here. And f of x is our green function, isn't it? So from 0 to 1 of our green function, the value is b, but because it's below the x-axis, the value is going to be negative b. The area calculation is going to be negative because it's below the x-axis. All right, now with C and D, I'm going to answer part D first and then make a really clear explanation for how to do C. So if we look at D, it says g of x take f of x. So the area from 0 to 1 of g of x is our top function, take away our bottom function. It's going to give us the area of this whole segment, okay, from 0 to 1. And so that's going to be just a plus b. And so then if we look at this one, the integral from 0 to 1 of f of x take g of x, I'm going to say that that is the same as this except the negative of it. And I'll show you why. Like if I just put a negative out the front of this integral, then we can distribute the negative. And so we have the integral from 0 to 1 of f of x take g of x, which is what we had up here, f of x take g of x. And so what that means is we already know that this one evaluates to a plus b. Okay, this part evaluates to a plus b. And so then we just have this negative hanging out the front of it, negative a plus b. That's going to give us this one here. And I'll explain why that's the case, okay, in relation to the graph. Well, here we have the blue function and the green function, and we're asked to find the integral from 0 to 1 of f of x take g of x. So they've got the order of the functions around the wrong way. We've got the top function, we've stated this is the top function and this is the bottom function. And so because we've mixed those up, the calculation's going to be negative. All right, so that's what's going on in that circumstance. Okay, let's ship over to E, where we have the integral from 1 to 4 of f of x take g of x. So that's talking about this region here from C, from 1 to 4. Integral of f of x take g of x. So that's going to be the top function take the bottom function. We have C plus D. All right, from 1 to 4 of g of x take f of x. This time again, we're mixing up the order. So this is just going to be the negative of this calculation, the negative of C plus D. Okay. We'll move on to H. We have the integral from 0 to 4 of f of x take away g of x. All right, so now we're talking about, I think the best way to think about this from 0 to 4 is we break it up into its parts. So we know the integral from 0 to 1 of f of x take g of x. We already did that over here, okay? Integral from 0 to 1 of f of x take g of x. That one's going to be minus a plus b. Okay, so that's the first part of it. But then, because we're going from 0 to 4, remember we can break it up into its intervals. And then we've got the integral from 1 to 4. And we've already done the integral from 1 to 4 of f of x take g of x as well. That gives us the C plus D. So all you need to do is think about breaking it up into its components. We've already calculated both of these and go, oh yeah, that one's the negative of a plus b, and this one's just C plus D. So that's going to be our answer. Now with your answers, you can leave them like this, or you can distribute the negative, like it's negative a, negative b, plus C plus D. That's what the definite integral evaluates to. Okay, and then we know, if we look at these, this one is just the negative of this one. Okay, there's a direct relationship between these two. And if you distribute a negative, you get the same function. So that means we know what this one evaluates to. So this one just has to be the negative of it. So this one here is going to be the negative of, and what we got for the previous part there, minus a take b plus C plus D. Okay, the negative of all of that, and you can distribute the negative or just leave it in brackets there like that. That's fine. Okay, and then we're going from 0 to 5 of f of x take g of x. Well, we already know from 0 to 4, okay? We already know from 0 to 4. So it's the same as 0 to 4 plus from 4 to 5. All right, so we already know from 0 to 4 of f of x take g of x. That's going to be this one typed out here. Okay, so that's going to be minus a plus b plus c plus d. Okay, so that's from 0 to 4. But then if we look at from 4 to 5, okay, over this region, and we're told to do f of x take g of x. So f of x is the bottom function, g of x is the top function. So we're talking about then this region here, f of x take g of x. We're just talking about region E, but it's negative because we've got the f of x function at the bottom. Okay, so it's just going to be negative E plus negative E. All right, and then this last one here from 0 to 5 of g of x take f of x, well, that's just the negative of this calculation. So this one's just going to be the negative of, I don't need an integral symbol, I need all of that typed in there, minus negative a plus b plus c plus d take e. Now when we distribute that negative, it's going to change the value of the definite integral, but because the functions are switched around the wrong way, it's just a negative multiple of it.